Yeah, so I got to the oncologist office at my local hospital in Slough with my cousin Amora, and I had a spirulina in hand, and I went and I discussed everything that I had researched with the oncologist, and he basically he was really nice. He was a really nice guy, and he explained that there's a typical regime that they go to for lymphoma patients. And I was kind of like, okay, what is that regime? And he was like, well, it's called CHOP. That's the chemotherapy that we use. It's our kind of go-to chemotherapy. And I was like, all right, but what if I don't want to do chemotherapy? And he was like, well, the type of lymphoma that you have is rare and it's aggressive. And I'll be honest with you, the prognosis can be, grim if you don't seek treatment because it will spread very rapidly. Anaplastic Large T-Cell Lymphoma basically what's happening inside your cells is your T cells are your soldiers and they're fighting one another. So basically your immune system is compromised and inside you're having an internal battle. So, in layman's terms, eventually your body's going to destroy itself. So I sat there and I listened to him and I thought about what Cerise said and I thought about my babies. And I said, okay, do you know what? Yeah, okay. I think chemo is the route I'm going to go down. Fine. But I'm not having it here. I still want to be referred to London. I still want to go to UCLH. How's that happening? Have I been referred? When's that happening? What's the delay? And he said, in 2 weeks, you have an appointment to see the oncologist who's in charge of all lymphoma patients. And at that appointment, they'll walk through the regime in greater detail and you'll have a start date. And I said, okay, all right, fine. Let's do this. I'm ready to do this. And so I left that appointment knowing that, yeah, I was going to lose my hair, fact, but also that I was going to be going to UCLH. And that gave me a bit of confidence, even though part of me wanted to go the natural route. It wasn't strong enough. That part of me didn't know enough to actually do it. It was a theory, it was yeah, possibly, but the risks are too high. I think I'm just going to opt for the drugs that everybody else takes. I'm going to go that route. The doctors must know what they're doing. I mean, how many people get cancer a year? They can fix it. And so I put my trust in them and the system, and I basically went home and decided that, I'm gonna do chemotherapy. And I researched again when I got home what to bring on your first day of chemo, how to approach chemo, do's and don'ts for chemo. And I just was a cancer student. I just wanted to learn every and anything relating to how to manage chemotherapy. So in the 2-week wait for my appointment at UCLH, I decided to cut my hair because I needed to have control. I needed to be the person that took my hair away. I wasn't going to allow the drugs to make me look unsightly, right? And there's my vanity again, because I was like, listen, I'm going to cut my hair in a style. I'm going to rock it and it's going to look amazing. And no one's going to even know that I've got cancer. So I called my friend Dee, my bestie, and I called Dana and I said, Dana, I want to go to your hairdresser, the one that gave you that really cute short style. And she was like, okay, you want to cut your hair? And I was like, yeah, cancer's going to take my hair. So I want to take it first. And she was like, are you sure? Don't you want to wait and see? Like, what if it doesn't take your hair? What if, like, you don't need to? And I'm like, look, I want to cut my hair. I want to have control over it. And I want it to be in a fly style. So, can you book me an appointment? And so, she did. She booked me an appointment with a hairdresser in Preston Road. And I drove down from Slough down there. And oh my God, I was nervous. Because I knew I was getting my hair cut. And I didn't even think I had the head shape for it. You know, like, I got a bit of a cone head. So I'm thinking, if they cut off my hair, like, how am I going to look? I never had short hair, right? I think I was even born with hair. So I don't know. I was really nervous. And her hairdresser was fantastic. Like, literally, she didn't know why she was cutting my hair. Because I didn't divulge that information to her. But she cut it really short at the back and the sides, but left me like a long piece at the front. I'll put a picture in the end of the video. And I was thrilled. You know when you're like, I looked in the mirror and I thought, I don't look bad. Oh man, I can rock short hair. Yeah, this can work. And I was like really happy. I thought, yeah, I can rock short hair. Like, this is not going to be the end of the world. Like, I can do this. And so I was happy. And then obviously the day of the appointment came, and my little Lavina came to my house and watched the kids. And they still didn't know because I hadn't told the kids what was going on. I just told them Mummy wasn't feeling well and that I had a doctor's appointment. Because I wasn't ready to have that conversation yet. I didn't know how I was going to have the conversation, never mind. And so I went to the appointment, and my good friend Lillian came with me. And we were at that appointment, and they told me that they'd have to delay the start date of chemo. And I'd already had a lot of delays, so I was kind of like, no, I don't want to. I don't want to delay it. I want to do it now. You guys said it's aggressive. I've cut my hair. Like, I'm ready. And the oncologist looked at me and he said, Sasha, I'm afraid you're not going to dictate when chemo takes place. We have to be certain that your body can tolerate chemo. And right now, your wound from the biopsy isn't fully closed. We can't give you chemotherapy because it will open it up. And I was like, no, it is closed. It's fine now. And he said, no, I've examined it and we need to wait another week. And I was so frustrated, man. Like, I was frustrated. Because, I was ready. I was ready to start chemo that day. I prepared myself. I'd done the research. I brought a blanket with me because somebody said it's cold. And, I was ready. And I walked out of his office, or doctor's office, and I was with Lillian, and I just burst into tears. It was the first time I really cried, and I burst into tears. And Lillian hugged me. She held me and she said, listen, cry if you need to cry. If you need to cry, cry, Sasha. At the end of the day, this is huge. And I said, Lil, I can't even plan. I'm not in control. I have no control of what's happening. I can't dictate when they're starting. I can't dictate when it finishes. I can't organise my life around it because I don't know what's happening. I mean, I'm struggling to pay my bills. I'm not able to go to work and plan that properly because I don't know how I'm going to feel. I'm just all over the place. And she said, okay, look, let's go downstairs and talk to the guidance counsellor. And I said, I don't need a counsellor, Lil. Like, no, I could talk to you. I don't need to talk to anyone. Like, I'm not about all that therapy and counselling. What's that? It's not for me. And she said, come on, Tasha, let's just talk to them. If they don't make sense, we'll leave. And I said, okay, fine. All right, let's do that. So I went downstairs to the Millen Centre within UCLH. And I went and I spoke to a lady called Grace. I believe her name was Grace. And we sat down. And I told her that I'm struggling to pay my council tax because I've been out of work. I'm struggling to, forecast how I'm going to survive on sick leave, on £85 every 2 weeks. How am I going to survive on that? Like, I don't know how I'm going to pay all my rent and all my bills, and I don't really want to go on benefits. And she told me that they would help me to find a way to structure my money and apply for grants, and they'd help me come up with budgets, and all I needed to do was bring in my existing bills and what I have in the bank currently, and they'd set up a plan with me and show me how to budget and show me how to get discounts on some things, given that I'd be on sick leave, not disability, sick leave. And I was grateful for her taking the time to talk to me, but I was still just I was down. I was really down, and it was a hard time, and I felt not alone, because I did have people around me, but I didn't want their involvement. I didn't want their support. Like, my mum had driven down from Manchester early hours in the morning, arrived at my door, and had literally said, I'm moving in. I'm here to help. And I was furious. I remember being furious because I thought, you're invading my space. I didn't invite you here. Like, I don't need you to be here. Like, I need this space for myself. Like, you can't be here right now. I haven't even explained to the kids what's going on. I can't have you here. And of course, she was emotional, right? Because I'm a baby, and she was trying to kind of understand what was going on herself. And it wasn't a help to me. And I'd have my dad on my phone ringing me. So what are they doing? How was chemo? And chemo hadn't even started. And I didn't want to discuss it with him. I didn't want the attention that they were giving me. And obviously, they told my aunties and my uncles, and everybody was well-wishing and calling and telling me that they started a prayer group, and it was overwhelming, and I just didn't want it. I didn't appreciate it, and I just wanted to be alone in my house with my kids, with a small circle of friends that I classed as my family, that were always a part of my day-to-day life. And I just didn't want the rest. And I wasn't grateful, and I wasn't gracious. I was probably a bit mean and irritated. And I think that came across because I said, look, if you don't normally come to my house, then you're not welcome, because my kids need normality, and if you're not used to coming around, then they're going to know something's wrong. And I don't need them to know something's wrong. Okay? So please stay away, and I'll keep you informed. Thanks. And that was the kind of communication that I had with everyone. It was wrong. Now I think about it, I'm sorry for the way I treated everybody at that time. Because they just wanted to be there for me, but I didn't see that then. I just felt interference. That's what it felt like. So I attended the first chemo on my own. I didn't tell anyone the time or date until I was on my way there, because I didn't want anyone to come with me. And that's probably selfish, right? But it's what I wanted. So that's what I did. I went on my own. And they gave me a blood test. And they took my blood pressure. And they weighed me on the scale. Sorry, this is really hard. Because I remember it like it was yesterday. It's very vivid in my head. And all the emotions attached to it come flooding back, right? And I remember sitting in the waiting room looking around at everybody. And everybody was bald. And the ones that weren't bald had wigs on their head. Wigs that looked like wigs. They looked ridiculous. They weren't even kind of trying to look like natural hair. And okay, honey. And sorry, that's my husband. He's going to the gym. And I thought, I don't want to look like these people. I don't want to be a cancer victim. No matter what happens with chemotherapy, I don't want to allow myself to disappear and fall apart and get pitied. You know, and that's exactly how I felt on that day when I looked around me. I didn't see brave, strong people, that they are, really. What I saw was cancer victim, cancer victim. Oh my God, she's so skinny. Oh my God, that wig looks terrible. Oh my God, she's grey. Why is she yellow? Like, that's all I could see. And it scared me. And I wanted to get up and run. I wanted to get up and get out of there. But then I kept looking at my phone and it had pictures of a Zamantia on them. And I thought, I'm doing this for you lot. I want to be there at your graduation. I want to be there when you get married. I want to be there on your first day of high school. And so I sat there and waited for my name to be called. And when my name was called, I went into the room, and there was a nurse and my oncologist, the one I met the week or 2 weeks before. And I said, am I going to have chemo today? And he said, yeah. Your weight we have, your blood pressure's steady, your bloods are good. So yes, we're going to begin chemotherapy. I need you to take the lift up 1 floor to the 2nd floor, where you'll be met with a nurse, and she will put a cannula in your arm, in one of your veins, and then you'll wait for your treatment to be put together, because it's a mix of 4 different drugs. And I said, okay, what are those drugs? And he said, one is cyclophosphamide, one is doxorubicin, one's vincristine, and one is prednisone. And I was like, okay. I thought I was having CHOP. And they said that is CHOP. Those are the real names for the drug that make up the generic regime CHOP. And I said, okay. And I think I was shivering because I was like scared and nervous, and you know. And they said, I need you to sign this consent form. And it was a yellow form. I remember it being yellow. And I looked at it. And I'd seen it like 2 weeks before because they'd showed it to me when I came the last time. I looked at it, and I signed my name, and I thought, you're doing the right thing. This is the right thing. You're going to be well. You're going to do this. And they told me 6 times, right? So I'm going to do this 6 times, and I'm going to be better. Like, it's going to be gone, and I'm going to be back to Sasha. And okay, I'll lose my hair, but you know what? It's all right. Like, short hair suits me. Look, the short hairstyle looks good. It's going to be fine. And I was doing all that self-talk in my head, right? Like, reassuring myself. And I got up, and the nurse walked me towards the lift, and she said, listen, here's my card. This is my number. If you have any problems, I want you to call me. If you have any concerns, I want you to call me. If you have any questions, call me. And I said, great. She said, my name's Claire, and I'm here to help you. I know this can be overwhelming, but we're here to support you through this. And I said, great, thanks. Thanks a lot. So I took the lift up to 1 flight to the 2nd floor, and I sat in another little waiting area until my name was called. And when my name was called, I was met with a lovely little lady. She introduced herself as Naz. And I said, oh, hi. And she said, hi there. First time? And I said, yeah. And she said, you're on your own? And I said, by choice. And she said, okay, come with me. And so she took me to a section, sat me in a chair, and said, this may hurt, but it'll only be like a scratch. And she inserted a cannula in my arm. Actually, it was in my wrist. My first cannula was in my wrist. And I have nothing there now. It's a long time ago. I don't know why I was showing you that. But, and then she told me that I'd have to wait for my regime to be ready, which would take about an hour and a half. And I said, okay, no problem. And I sat with my green smoothie in the waiting area and waited for my drugs to be ready.